Set your alarm, aren't you hungry?
I'm sure by now a lot of you all, just like me, have seen this image millions of times in TV shows and movies. You have this black male character who is turned into comic relief or someone who is the humor of that series.
Oh yeah, it was one show on Nickelodeon. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like there was ninjas or something, and it was like the Asian dude, a black dude, and there was a girl. I can't remember what the show was called, but it seemed like the black dude, they was in high school or whatever, and it seemed like everything the black dude said had to be a joke. He couldn't just have a normal, regular line in the show. He had to be saying some kind of joke.
Or of that.
Or like Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide with Cookie. My mama didn't like that character at all. I remember watching that when I was a kid. They said, why they got him up there looking like a black nerd?
I call this
They got him looking geeky and nerdy.
black male goofball trope, and we need to dissect it. I'm your host, coolcolas, and you are now tuning into a new video on my channel. So let's get into it. This issue is something that's common in media, yet it's seldom spoken about. And the reason why is because if you choose to speak up about this issue, you'll either be attacked by a tube of shea butter or a jar of mayonnaise if you even dare to try to tackle it or speak up to the injustices that are going on with black men. When it comes to black men, the dominant society has two means of attempting to misrepresent the black male image. They either make us overly angry or they attempt to make us non-threatening. When it comes to being non-threatening, some of the ways that they have attempted to do this is to either make a black man effeminate or gay. And what I mean by gay is it's not just on the basis of their sexuality, but the idea that they're going to present themselves as both gay and performative. The other side of this non-threatening gimmick that they try to portray on black men is to make them the ass of all jokes or comic relief. From the comic relief side, we've seen these portrayals in characters such as M'Baku on Black Panther Wakanda Forever and Finn from the Star Wars series. Think about the character M'Baku. A lot of people, they see this character, he's this big old dude wearing an ape suit, so he appears like a masculine and a big black man, right? But if you look at his character in Wakanda Forever, this dude was doing nothing but telling jokes every 5 damn seconds, and he was not taken seriously. And there's some people who are going to walk around, they're going to say, he became King M'Baku. He became the king. He became the king. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. If you go back to that movie, you understand that even the king thing was a token gesture. Because if you look at the way that the character was treated throughout this movie, he was tossed around by Namor, and he even lost an arm wrestling match to Shuri, who's probably like 90 pounds soaking damn wet, and this dude probably got to be 300. Although the black male goofball trope seems to be about humor and being comic relief, it's really about removing a threat, the authority, and the sexual seriousness from a black man while also keeping him visible. A way for a lot of these producers in the dominant society to meet a diversity checkbox while also appealing to that we are not a monolith crowd. I've even discussed in the past how black men in the WWE are often turned into these circus clowns who are made
Truth.
be overtly silly and are created for the entertainment of white folks, if we're being honest. That's why you had the antics of the New Day and then R-Truth acting like a damn dumbass. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being funny or even being goofy at times in real life, but there is a difference between having fun and just being an overall silly person. Sometimes those who are being silly all the time, that is, are purposefully allowing themselves to be performative for attention, which for a black man is a very unmasculine way to be. Now, again, seeing a funny or silly character on screen who is a black man alone isn't what is actually bad. It also usually includes specific traits and character treatment. Usually this comic relief character that I'm discussing is either made or treated like a throwaway, undermined, or is easily tossed around by the big bad in whatever series they are in. Everything they say or do is a joke, and they are never taken seriously. And these personas are acquired often by certain archetypes of real life men, not just the characters that they actually played. I noticed that sometimes even very big or very small black men get turned into comic relief quite often as well too. And they are comic relief not because they actually tell funny jokes, but because the way that they behave in combination with their size is something that is laughable to people. So a lot of times they'll be behaving strangely, bucking their damn eyes, and performing for entertainment. As a matter of fact, I'll be doing a live this coming Thursday to tackle this to a certain degree, especially when we look at this idea that there are a lot of big performative Sambos for some reason. This is one thing that you have to understand about the men in the dominant society. They battle with ambivalent emotions. They have a hatred for black men while also having a low-key admiration for black men at the same time. This creates insecurities and ultimately individuals who make moves based on their insecurities. And one of their fears is that the black man who they low-key have admiration for will tap into their masculinity and boldly stand up to their oppressive bullshit. And they also will tackle the racism that they have tried to implement in society. So their way of trying to turn the tables on us is to use media as a tool of manipulation to psychologically sway the way that society looks at black men as a whole. Their initial sway the way that society looks at black men as a whole. Their initial means of attempting to misrepresent us was by making us a bunch of black brutes and angry black men. That's why they use these black brute tropes where black men would be these beasts that would savagely desire to deflower their snow bunny queens. Hell, let's keep it a bean. What do you think that the King Kong movie was really about? The thing about their fear too is it's kind of evolved. And
that nigga was ready to die behind that white bitch.
Started out being a thing where they feared that we would overcome the oppression and stand up to them. And then later it turned into these extreme theories of genetic annihilation through sex. So eventually they tried to convince the world that we were brutes and abusers too. That's why eventually they would try to band together with a bunch of shea butter sambas who had their own grievances with the black men that they chose in their lives, where they had us looking like Mr. from the Color Purple and everything that we did. But eventually these suspected white supremacists decided to diversify their portfolio of racism. They couldn't just stop at exaggerating and exploiting our masculinity. They had to find a way to make it non-threatening. And that's where this trope, the black male goofball, comes in. Black men shouldn't have to fake smile and be a goofy ass minstrel show in order for them to be liked or respected. We can also be the hero with a beautiful black woman, a serious mentality, and a strong code of ethics.
I don't know why this picture just made me think of Michael Vick just now, bruh. I don't know why, man. For some reason, it just made me think of Michael Vick, dog.
That is respected by society. Black male characters shouldn't also have to always be this tech support character or a deceased father who is killed off before the story even starts, or a weakling who's a magical Negro only around for the moral support of a white character and being the emotional compass of a team that typically has nothing but white and non-black people. I know a lot of folks are going to be in my comments whining and bitching and trying to spew all the outliers who don't meet this stereotype, and I'm not trying to hear that bullshit because, one, that's not the point, and two, the point is it's not happening enough. About these outliers is it usually doesn't disprove a system. They are exceptions that are used to defend it. And through the comic books and the characters that I'm currently making that you have yet to see, I intend to make that happen and to make this something that is a norm. We will have proper black representation, especially when it comes to black men in comics and in regular.
Hey, niggas still waiting on that Static Shock movie. I think DC need to get on that, bro. I don't think they realize how much money they can make off of that. How much black dollars they can make off of that. You make a Static Shock movie, and don't fumble it, make it a good movie, make it a great movie, bro. Niggas been waiting to see Static Shock, man.
Media. So if you continue to follow the Cool Colas brand and everything that I do, then you'll see these changes happen eventually. Those of you all who got to the end of this video, what I would love for you to do is to tell me about a black male goofball character that you saw and you just shook your head and was like, this is something that they love to do with us whenever they try to represent us. Let me know in the comments below, and let's get...
What's the dude named Craig Robinson? What's his name? I think he funny as hell, but that's who came to mind when he asked that question. Let me see what y'all talking about in the comments, bro. Because if they show us as alphas, that'll make their women more attracted to us than they already are. Bro is touching on all the issues I've had with Hollywood in the last 15 years. Definitely Steve Urkel without a shadow of a doubt. But you know the argument they're going to use, well, what about Stefan? All right. Also, in predominantly white movies, TV series, purposely casting objectively unattractive, low testosterone, non-threatening black male character, so he is not a romantic lead or a romantic character that white males will protest. Sam Richardson on Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. I don't know what that is. Shaq comes to mind. Why Shaq? Now that I think about it, they do it most often with black men who would normally be considered I think they meant to say intimidating by white folks. The contrast between his appearance versus his behavior is the joke to them. I've seen this type of thing all the time. It's definitely done on purpose, no question about it. The comic relief trope seems to simply be done to almost create or to almost castrate and or pacify African American characters in fiction. It is an attempt to overly correct the inherent domineering and intense presence of African Americans by belittling them through means of comedy. But it's simply the entertainment equivalent of an action that is historically embedded into American history. Comedy is a safe way to pacify and remove the otherwise authoritative nature African Americans have that has frightened the dominant society. African Americans, unlike the dominant society, do not need to resort to force or violence to non-verbally demand fear. It is built into them. So this whole comic relief trope I find really upsetting because it unironically feels mockish and harmless. I don't have anything against comedy. I have something against watering down someone to a wimpish state just to appease others who are intimidated by them. Great analysis. Yeah, man, but look, bro. Y'all like the video. LIKE, like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all be safe. I'm out. Bruh, you recording?
There's some real shit going on outside. And we in here talking about bullshit.